What is poppin', everybody? We are here. I'm live at the UFC Apex. See the green room behind me. I'm Din Thomas. This is FightCourt, and I got my man Ryan Quinn as always. Ryan, last night was bananas. What'd you think?
Before we get into that, why do they call it the green room? It looks pretty, I don't know, white.
Yeah, it's funny. I never understood why they call it a green room. I don't know why they call it a green room.
You know what I thought it was when I heard green room? I thought it was like the green backdrop where they could do like graphics and stuff when they record. Like that's what I always thought the green room was. I never.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Like if you're using a green screen,
Yeah,
like the green room. But this makes no sense to call this the green room. But that's how it's always been, the green room.
All right, no problem. Okay, we could take that up at the powers that be, change the name of the room. But no, last night was a fantastic night of fights, up and down. I was early on. I was at a gathering, a friend's gathering for his birthday party. So I was like cluing in. The only full prelim fight I watched was our boy Ramiz Brahimaj. But we'll get into that. It really delivered. It's you could tell the UFC was thirsty for a good night of fights, and they needed it, and it delivered. I'll tell you one thing that I'm kind of getting over, and it has nothing to do with the fights. It's and I got to be careful the way I say this. I don't want to be labeled as unpatriotic, but I'm really getting tired of the international fighters. Whenever they fight an American, they're immediately booed, and then when the first round starts, the USA chants are starting. Like I just think there's nothing behind it anymore. It's like a default, and it's a little tacky. That's kind of how I feel. I mean, maybe it's because I just respect these fighters so much. I don't know. Yeah, it's just me with that.
No, there is something to that, and it's part of us being kind of tribal as humans.
Yeah, I get it.
We're very tribal as humans, but it's dangerous though. It really is dangerous because whenever we have these things like separation, it's not like it's okay, right? We say it's okay to be patriotic and maybe even nationalistic and be like America,
Mhm.
America, America. But when you start separating groups like this, where do you draw the line? Because it's not cool to be like just rooting for white people, just rooting for black people, or just rooting for Chinese people. So we got to be careful about how we how we kind of label this patriotism that we use. I try to stay away from that. I really do. I really try to stay away from that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And just be like, it's not my thing. It's not my thing.
It's everywhere else. I just want to enjoy the fights.
Yeah. And it's not unique to America. It's everywhere. It's just we're very tribal. And we're proud of our history and what it is that we do, but we just have to be careful with that and to not be disrespectful towards other people's culture, because sometimes it breeds that. When you start being a little too, and I'm going to use the word patriotic because we hide behind that patriotism. When we start to be too patriotic, we hide behind that. And then that's where things like racism, sexism, just being disrespectful towards other people's cultures and religions, that's where that comes from.
Yeah. And yeah, I really thought about that. Like, I don't want to get it crossed. Like, it's like, I get it. Like, you're proud of your country, proud of your from. I hope everybody is, but it's just so like, it's like a default now. It's like, you don't even like, it's like, actually, I thought it was kind of cute this morning. My son, we're watching football and they're in London this morning, and we're recording on Sunday now, Phil. And they said the Star Spangled Banner, and my son immediately went like this. I was like, oh, that's cute. Like, put his hand on his heart. I was like, it's cute that he picked that up. But we'll get right into this fight, because it was ironic that Pyfer is fighting a Boost, and a Boost fights for American Top Team trained here. And then the USA chants start.
I forgot that a Boost trained at American Top Team. Until John Anik reminded me prior. He's like, yo, he trained at American Top. I was like, word? I had forgotten all about that. So like that was kind of interesting. We'll get into that after, man. I want to get into the main event first though.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get into the main event first.
Mhm.
I had changed my pick, and I do that all the time. I don't know if I'm just hedging my bet, but I had changed my pick because I was in the locker room with Pereira.
Mhm.
So in the locker room, it was I'm in there with Pyfer and Corey Sandhagen's in the locker room and his team, and then Pereira's team is in there, and just seeing his energy when he walked in the room, it felt like a winner's energy.
I
So I
love it.
had changed my pick on the one of the quick hits that I did with Morgan Worth. I changed my pick because all we got was like, yeah, Magomed's gonna get this one. But then when I saw Pereira's energy, I said, this man is coming in with a winner's energy, and I changed my pick. But I did not expect the fight to go like that.
No, no, neither did I. I thought it'd be like,
Who
well,
did?
yeah, a minute and a half. No, like I didn't have that on my bingo card. I thought I felt that he kept the volume up as I thought he was going to do, and the way he switched it up was just magnificent. Started with some boxing, then some flick leg kicks, and then went right back to the hands, and then well, I mean, he hit him right in that spot, like
Yeah.
right behind the ear, and then when that happens, and then like those vicious elbows, which is just I'm so happy that they're allowed to do 12-6 now. Um, yeah, I didn't see it going like that. I thought he was going to win by knockout, but not like that. I thought there was going to be some figuring out process.
Well, there's something to that. I remember I used to work with Mike Bell. So after I lost to BJ Penn, I remember that I was running around the Orlando scene, and they were like, "Yo, you got to work with this guy, Mike Does, a tremendous striker." And he used to always tell me, when you every fight started off and just throw a warning shot, just go out there and just and let them know what you're working with right away.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of what Pereira did. Like he just ran across the cage and just said, and just fired off a warning shot and let Magomed Ankalaev know right away that this is what you're dealing with tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You're not dealing with a guy who's backing up. He went right out there and said, fired off that warning shot. And from there, it was just like, oh my God.
He took that right hand away of Magomed's for a minute. Like it's like because it's
Yeah.
now it's got to be here. He's got that warning shot. Like I can't
Yeah.
let it be the real thing. I mean, it worked last night. I don't know if I would want that to be my MO, but it's definitely a warranted strategy. And I it worked last night.
Well, for sure. I mean, everything is probability. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you do that, obviously, I started the story off with my old kickboxing coach telling me to do that every fight. But if you do that every fight, obviously it's not going to work as effectively later. But
Mm-hmm.
if you fought your last fight backing up,
Yep.
there's some reason to believe that you're going to start this fight, maybe not backing up, but just being a little kind of, like you said, a feeling out process. But there was no feeling out process.
No.
And no one could have predicted that to happen. And this game is based on like being able to do things that people aren't prepared for and aren't ready for and just catching them. And the idea that he did that, like I didn't see that coming. Who thought that he was just going to run across the cage in a disrespectful manner and just be like, boop, boop?
Yeah. Yeah. Like this is the real deal now. You got it last time, and how? Yeah, it was cool. Like wow, like even that was like serious Alex energy. That was serious Shama. Like I can't remember any time that he's really come forward like that. And yeah, he let him know, and he put the whole light heavyweight and maybe the heavyweight division back on watch. So it's pretty interesting.
Man, you gotta like just watching that, you gotta be. I was concerned, man. I was like, yo, like that guy last night. I've always had my reservations about putting him on a GOAT list and pound for pound list because what he did was crazy special.
Yeah.
But it was almost in a way where it was like it worked out for him. Like he never really had to go through this process of being built up and then having more opportunities to lose and then just wear and tear on your body. And it's like, and that's what really kind of kills fighters a lot of times. It's like the journey of being a fighter is like you're going up and like you got to fight this guy and that guy, and then you get hurt. And he never really had that because like he just kind of got in these positions where he had two fights and he's fighting for the championship, and then he's fighting these good guys, and he. But after watching him last night, I was like, man, I gotta put him. You gotta start thinking about him on these GOAT
Yeah.
lists for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, because what is it like, why else that is? It's like look at the fights we're looking at right now for him. If he stays at light heavyweight, Well, I mean, I guess we'll get into that. What's his next fight? And like, all right, if he goes up to heavyweight, then it's a super fight because they're trying to teeter with him on that GOAT list. But if he stays in the light heavyweight division, I don't really think there's anybody right now new or fresh that truly challenges him. I think that Carlos Ulberg, I think that that's a very, very favorable opponent for Alex. As good as I think Carlos is, I think that Alex is just better at areas where his strengths are. And let's say Yuri gets the fight. Do we really care to see a third fight with Yuri where he was knocked out twice? But then if he, like I said, if he's going up to heavyweight, he wants to fight John Jones, and I think that might be John's one chance at getting on the White House card. But I don't really, I don't know. I'm not in favor of that. I still want to see some fights from the light heavyweight division. I don't really care. I think that Alex beats Cyril Gane. And then, but then there's Tom Aspinall. Now, do you give that fight, the heavyweight fight, to Tom Aspinall on him, or do you have Tom fight? And because you might derail the heavyweight division if Alex takes that fight and wins. Now I know there's a lot of ifs there, but they really need a solid heavyweight foundation in the UFC right now. I just said a lot. What do you think?
No, there's a lot of other factors involved with matchmaking and strategically placing fighters in different places and cards and stuff like that. I think if the UFC needed a big fight, that's a big fight.
Yeah.
If you were to do like Alex and Tom Aspinall. We're assuming that Tom Aspinall is going to get past Cyril Gane in 2 weeks. So if that does happen, that's a really big fight. And like if they need a big fight, I can see them doing that. But I don't have a problem. And I'm sure maybe even Alex probably doesn't have a problem just like wiping these guys out in the light heavyweight division. Like, why would you have a problem? I don't know why guys have a problem with that. But I did one thing. I don't think Carlos Ulberg wants that smoke.
No.
I think what he saw last night, he was like, yeah. I mean,
I'm very, very careful when I say things like this.
Yeah.
I think that Alex Pereira last night might be John Jones plus 20. Like,
yeah.
The way that striking was, John is gonna have a hard time coming in like this.
Yeah.
Like, it was something to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good argument for that, and for Yuri, just watching Yuri's body language, and I love Yuri's spirit. Like I'm all into the warrior spirit, not just. I love his spirit as a warrior and as a fighter, and how he embraces that. And watching his body language, the respect that he had just watching that performance, he seemed like not that he's afraid of fighting Alex, but I think he recognizes that he can't beat him. And not that he wouldn't try again, but just watching, he's like, and to me, it looked like one of them things where it's like he's watching a man who's like, that guy's just better than me.
Yeah.
I respect what that guy's doing. He's just better than me. I'll fight him again if I have to, but I respect what he's doing. And that's the impression that I got watching Yuri watch that fight.
Yuri is such a breath of fresh air for the UFC. I don't think
people
realize. And I know we all made fun of it. I was guilty of it too. The guy's weird, whatever, but we're all weird, so it's whatever. But like in a time where the UFC and the characters, and he's a character, but he's real, and he's pure. So I love it too. And I think that that's exactly what it is. He's in the wrong era right now. He's got his white whale in front of him, like his Moby Dick out there that he can't get. And I think that he would fight that guy as hard as he can with every intention to win, but he's aware that it might not happen.
That's what it looks like to me too, man. He's aware that it might not. He would fight him. I don't think he's afraid of him, but I think he realizes that that guy just might be better. I guess just a better warrior than I am.
Yeah. If I had it my way, and this is tough to pull off, but I would have Alex fight Carlos next, and I would if I'm Yuri, I don't really care to see Yuri fight like Magomed, or I would have Yuri wait out and see if he could have that rematch or something, or I don't know, like who do you put Yuri against now? Did you really care to have him fight Magomed and see who wins that for a rematch? Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes
Did they
sense.
fight before? I mean, it
Did
does make
they?
sense.
No, I don't think so. I
I
don't
don't
think
think they
so.
fought before.
I don't think so. I always get him confused with Jan's opponents in
Yeah,
Yuri's.
yeah, they never fought before, but I mean it's literally the only fight at 205 that makes sense for both of them because it is
Yeah.
such a shallow division.
Mm-hmm. You can't have a quick turnaround with them either. That's like January, February.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, it's I mean, there's options. I think 2026 is going to shape up to be an awesome year for the UFC, and especially not just with the Paramount, but just these stories that are falling in our laps right now with all these divisions. It's really really cool. Obviously Amanda and Kayla is on the docket, so there's just the UFC White House card, which doesn't need star power. We've gone over that. We don't need to go over that again. Yeah. So anywho, anything else to say about the fight?
nothing about that one. I think we kind of got that.
Yeah.
We kind of drive that well, but
Oh, wait. Oh no. Oh, this is later anyway. All right. What do you think about the co-main event? How do you think?
co-main
So
Merab.
Sandhagen and Merab.
It went pretty much how I thought it was going to go. Honestly, I was hoping to see something a little different from Corey.
Yeah.
I thought that he had moments of where he could have. I think that Merab just mesmerizes guys out there. I think he
Mm-hmm.
just forces you to feel like you have to defend his shot because he shoots so much that you feel like he gets you in this zone of fighting his fight. Like I got to defend his shot, and I thought Corey's one of his beneficial assets to winning this fight would have been offensive wrestling, and
I
he
agree.
never did it. He never did it, and I thought that maybe even a little groundwork, like some leg lock attempts, like just diving in for legs to get Merab off of him. He never did that neither. Like his entire strategy was pretty predictable in terms of get taken down, give up his back, cut the hands, and he did it. He did it. What Merab shot? I think it was in the fourth round. Merab shot 18 for 36 at that point.
Insane. Insane. Like
And for Corey, like yeah, you got out 30. You defended 30. You defended 18 takedowns and got out 18 times. But you didn't stop him from shooting.
yeah.
Like you couldn't stop him, and that was the problem. He never stopped him from shooting. So he didn't do a good enough job of just creating enough damage in the process to get Merab to think about that twice, or have Merab defending his shots. And I thought that that was a mistake, but I think that Merab just he put so much pressure and activity on you that you just really start fighting his fight because you have no other choice.
Yeah. This is such a fight, a fun fight for the fight nerds, the fight scientists to break down. So this fight went pretty much the way I thought it was going to go too. I thought Corey won the first round, and then, but I thought what happened in round 4 was going to happen in round 2, whatever. But more or less, when Merab was getting caught coming forward, his pressure, but his chin was coming up, and then Corey was just kind of taking what was there and connecting. Um, and then in the second round, Merab, he clearly started shelling up behind his punches, and he started adding more punches to his combinations. That's what rocked Rory Corey, and got the drop, and then Merab got some ground and pound, won the round. But what was interesting was, if you noticed after that, if you look at the takedowns per round, now granted, I know there's time, but if you look at the takedowns per round, there was a lot more in rounds 3, 4, and 5 from Merab than there was in rounds 1 and 2. Why is that? I think because Merab tried wrestling first, but then he stuck to his identity by using his hands. He got that big drop, and that combination, like we said, gave you an awareness. That gave Corey an awareness. I got to protect up top, got to protect the striking, and that opened up more takedowns for Merab to get in on single leg to waist locks and stuff like that. And it was just amazing how getting dropped from striking opened up more takedowns and more wrestling. And I hope people take that stuff into consideration. But Merab is just, if he could do stuff like that, and the way he could just switch back and forth from wrestling to strikes to ground control, it's so tough to keep up with. And we now know how good he is. If you can make in-fight adjustments against somebody like Corey Sandhagen, as subtle as it was, then you're going to have a lot of success in this game, because Corey is just, he's so tough to get around. He's so tough to figure things out with. I don't think that this fight really drops Corey's stock whatsoever. He's such a good fighter. And just Merab is just Merab. He's that damn good.
Well, this does set us up for something good. That would be a Corey Sandhagen and Sean O'Malley fight. I think
Yeah,
that's a fight that everybody's always wanted to see that. I think
absolutely.
Corey wins that fight though.
I think Corey wins
But
that fight easy.
when we talk about, and I was having this conversation with somebody recently about trends of MMA, and we follow the trends. In the beginning, obviously when MMA first started, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then it turned into wrestling, and then it was the strikers, and then it was this and it's that. And when I think about what the trend may eventually be coming up soon, that's comfortability.
When you
When
explain,
you
explain me.
when you can be comfortable in a fight, as comfortable. A lot of people attribute, and we do have to be careful with this. We attribute Merab's success to this insane cardio and his cardio. But when you talk to the people who know him, they don't. Yeah, he's got great cardio, but it's his comfortability. It's him being comfortable and never panicking, never wasting a movement or any energy on panic. And that's really where people get tired, is that they panic and they get uncomfortable, and discomfort sets into where they start making mistakes, and then just it snowballs down after that. But being comfortable really is a key to a lot of your problems. Just being able to have a level of comfort where you can fight despite whatever the distractions are or whatever the threat is, just being comfortable. And Merab has that, and he does that better than anybody in MMA right now.
I think you're onto something there. Especially when it comes to comfortability. Like when you and I fought, it was a fight. Like it's the adrenaline's flowing, testosterone, it's a fight. So it's like there's not really much thinking because we're fighting. But now you're hearing words like game plan and strategy, and then it almost digresses that emotion out of the fight part, and it really gets your mind focused on the assignment. And I think that makes you more comfortable with what you're doing because you have a game plan in front of you. You have it. It's not just rock 'em, sock 'em. And like you
Well,
said,
yeah,
with
it takes your focus off of this life or death threat
yes,
that we've attributed to what fighting is.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if, and again, it's balance for me when I'm dealing with fighters. It has to be a balance. I don't think you can fully take it away. You shouldn't fully take it away, because when you fully take it away, you end up with performances like Veronica Hardy last night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she had her opponent hurt many times with just zero killer instinct to finish. And
Mm-hmm.
that's because, like, the stakes are, like, at some point in this fight, the stakes are, I am trying to kill you.
Yeah,
And you have to have that at some level. And it
yeah.
can't just be a game that we're trying to play. Like, there has to be a level of, I am going to hurt you, and I'm trying to hurt you, and I'm trying to finish you, like a life or death situation in a way.
So I work in sales, and a lot of it is, we're planning, how do we get there? But then right when we got to get people to sign on the dotted line, it's how do you get the ball in the end zone? Now it's time to push. So it's almost the same aspect. Like, yeah, you have to drive now. You have to finish here. You have to get that finish. Like, and that's what it comes down to. That's where you put that fight energy, getting that finish. So absolutely, you need that. You do need that.
Yeah, and he still has that. He just doesn't have, well, and I don't want to be, well, he doesn't. He doesn't have a lot of finishing ability. I almost was going to say I don't want to be unfair to him, but like his record even suggests he doesn't have a tremendous finishing ability. But he's a lot of fun. Like, he's the only person that can make wrestling look fun
Yeah, yeah.
because he's having fun. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just watching him fight is fun because you see how much fun he's having. So I love every bit of watching Merab fight because he's having a
Absolutely.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he's beating up finishers too. He's
yeah,
it's really tough to take chance against people like that. But I
yeah.
know exactly what you mean, and like maybe there's only room for one Merab. If there's a second one, people start hating on both of them. But yeah, he's fun to watch, man. He's fun to watch.
So as we're talking about level of comfort, if there is somebody else who does it just as well, and it might not look the same because it doesn't necessarily look as fun as Merab, but level of comfort, that would be Jiri Procházka. Like, Jiri has a level of comfort about him that really allows him to stay into this fight. And that might have been the reason why Khalil Rountree broke Like when you think about that, like Khalil Rountree, like as dangerous as he looked in the first round in the first half of that second round, the idea that he didn't get his man out of there, like he's hit him with a lot of big shots, kicked him with big shots, and every time he does, Yuri is just like, and he's like still coming forward. That made him so uncomfortable, and you saw him just start to melt as the fight progressed, and it wasn't necessarily a physical conditioning thing. It doesn't mean that like he didn't run enough or he didn't do enough physical conditioning. That was straight discomfort. Like he got uncomfortable and that melted him.
And that's kind of like Yuri, his level of comfort. He's also, we think, well, because of the word, we think comfort, we think comfortable situation. Yuri's very comfortable in the chaos. And that can make a real mess of things for everybody else. So I think you're absolutely right with that. It's a different type of comfort that Yuri has. Absolutely. So
yeah,
you want to get into that fight now?
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
So I want to ask you, because Rogan and DC were talking about this, and it's really interesting. Yuri is so unique with the angles he brings, the intensity. How do you train if you're training a light heavyweight to fight him? How do you train for him, or who do you bring in to resemble him? How does it go?
Well, one, I think, when you're dealing with somebody like that, you got to take away what makes them most dangerous, and that's space.
Yeah.
You got, and you want to try to get as many senses on them as possible. So the sense of touch is really helpful. So like when you give them space to work and you allow, and I said this on a broadcast, like what makes Yuri so dangerous is his movement. Like he's moving, he's throwing all this unpredictable stuff from these weird angles. And then you give him space to do that. Now you're fighting like all this other stuff. And you can deal with that by staying in position. You can deal with that for sure.
Yep.
I remember talking to Tyrone Spong, and he said, at the end of the day, your job is to protect your chin. So you don't have to reach out for stuff and bite on stuff. Like your job is to stay here. So no matter what else is going on out there, if you can be disciplined enough to just stay here and protect your chin, you're good. So that's one thing. You got to stay in position. You can't try to match his energy and get wild. You got to stay in position. And secondly, if you can get your senses on him, the sense of touch on him, grab him, work him in the clinch, take him down, and these things, then I believe that you have a really good chance of beating him. Like have a better chance of beating him as opposed to just catching him and matching his energy and trying to catch him. But I think you got to grab him.
Yeah, I think you got to take the weapons away. Less is more against somebody like him. Absolutely. Take away the space and just get close, take the weapons away. Yeah. Yeah. So you wouldn't go crazy trying to bring in, replicate someone in sparring with them, or you just,
No, I think it's a waste. I mean, it's not a waste of time. Like you might want to do that a few times just so that you know that your fighter can stay disciplined. Like the key would be to stay disciplined while all this other stuff is going on the outside. Like this guy's like spinning and doing all this stuff, and your job is to just be like this. I don't care, and just march forward and be here. Boop, 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 boop. Keep it simple.
Gotcha. So did they ever address what was going on, why he was slipping in the first couple of rounds with his feet? Were his feet sweaty? Like what was going on?
I don't know, man. I have no idea, but it looked weird to me.
He took a knee at one point. Like
he threw a punch and
he
took a knee. Like it was weird. I was like, something is wrong with his legs, because initially to me, I thought, like, why is he not moving as much? He's just standing there taking leg kicks. Why is he not moving as much? And then he started falling down, and I'm like, something gotta be. Is he hurt? Maybe he's hurt.
I don't know, man.
And I'm surprised that Khalil didn't take full advantage of that.
I was very surprised at that too. Like it was clearly noticeable, and I would have been more aggressive and gambled a little more early on if I was Khalil. If I see he can't get his feet under him to land things, but I also thought too that he could have made other adjustments too if he was slipping like that. There was times where he'd slip throwing combinations and he would try to immediately reset, where actually Merab did the opposite. Merab would slip and then throw a punch after. I felt that if he slipped, like literal slip and figurative slipping punches, that he could have thrown combinations after and he could have scored. I mean, it all worked out. This is Monday morning tournament stuff, but Yeah, that was really interesting. That was really interesting. I thought that I mean, for whatever reason that was, I thought that's what held. Like I thought that Khalil was going to have initial success. I thought that Yuri was going to have to figure some things out and to bring the chaos, but that delayed it. We'll say 8 minutes. That delayed Yuri's offense, and then he got the best of it. So
Dude, Khalil, when he punches, man, it looks so powerful.
yeah,
It looks so powerful, but I'm thinking, like, how many like clean knockouts does he have though?
no, not a lot. He's got
It's
a
so weird to me. Like he knocked out Anthony Smith, but it's just so weird to me that he doesn't have more. And it's so weird to me that Yuri was able to eat all of them.
right. Yeah,
Like, and he barely. There were maybe a couple times where he looked a little wobbled, but for the most part, he never really looked wobbled.
I'm
He
gonna
was
go
just kind
back
of
and watch
eating
the
with some
fights
comment.
because I wonder if he's throwing like arm punches and we don't realize. Like,
I, honestly, man, I kind of started thinking that, like, man, maybe he not really. There's got to be something to it.
because he does his arms are his wingspan looks fairly long considered
Yeah,
all things considered for his body. Maybe he's trying to extend at the end too much and he's throwing arm punches. I'm gonna go back and watch that.
yeah. Go back and watch that. Let me know what you think. But to me, it's just like because it looks so powerful. It looks like, man, whatever he touches
Hmm.
is going to disintegrate. It's just going to explode on impact.
Yeah,
But it don't happen.
no,
So I'm wondering, like, I gotta go. I'm gonna go back and watch his technique. So there's something is missing in when he's making contact because it looks really powerful, but something's missing.
yeah, I wonder if he's tight before, if he tenses up before he throws. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
watch that too because I said the same thing. I was like, oh man, the first time he threw a right, I was like, this is or a left hand. I mean, I was like, this is gonna be an early night, and then
Right? It
just
looked man, it looked like that, right?
yeah,
It looked like it was gonna be an early night. I was like, yo, he's gonna catch Yuri and it's gonna be a wrap. But he caught him and Yuri was just like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yuri, come
uh,
on.
um other performance, and we'll do the main card and maybe any some stuff in the prelims. But I thought Youssef Zalal. We can just touch on these. I thought Youssef Zalal looked amazing, and
Hmm.
he's so good. Uh, he's one of my favorite guys in the UFC in terms of just everything, in terms of his appreciation for the sport, in terms of his appreciation for his craft, in terms of how he's conducting and handling himself as a professional fighter. He is doing everything how I would like to see it done as a fighter. I mean, it's just he doesn't complain. He goes out there, fights really good fights, and he's grateful for his position. He understands what this is. I love what Youssef Zalal is doing.
I agree with that. I liked how excited he was. He called out Lerone Murphy and was like, I think he's got a title. She goes, whatever. Like I thought it was great. I appreciate seeing some tight technical jujitsu, which we saw there. The way he was moving his hips there to get in place for the armbar was freaking awesome. Yeah, we got to appreciate grappling fans. We really do. We can't lose it. This is mixed martial arts, not mixed martial striking.
Yeah,
And I like what he's bringing. You know, Josh Emmett, I'm a fan. He is getting a little older, maybe, but either way, I don't think that his ground was ever going to be able to compete with somebody that tight.
I did say this though, man, and I told him after this because it bothered me. It bothered me, and I'm telling this. This is a message to all you fighters out there. Stop apologizing for your performances that happened before. Like he didn't. He got on the mic. You get 60 seconds on the mic with Joe Rogan.
Hmm.
Don't bring up the Calvin Cater fight.
Yeah, yeah, shit.
No one remembered that. No one's going to remember that.
Hmm.
You are overplaying it. I think Joe Pyfer might have did it too. Like he'll always bring up the Jack Hermanson fight. Stop apologizing for prior performances. Just get better and show us in the future, or show us right now. Most importantly, show us right now, and then show us in your next fight more.
Yep.
But
Bingo.
don't apologize. Stop apologizing.
Yeah.
And he apologized. He's like, and I said, and then, as soon as he came out the cage, I walked up to him. I said, "Man, you look fantastic." But stop bringing up the Calvin Cater. I know, man. I know. I wasn't. Stop doing it.
Yeah. Let's look forward. Forget it. I
Yeah,
forgot about it. He forgot about it
yeah.
too.
Like no one was thinking about that.
Pretty soon they're going to start being like, so I lost this one fight 5 years ago with LFA. Just want to say sorry for my performance
Yeah,
that night.
right. Like, yeah, I didn't. I was sick.
I was wrestling in high school.
Yeah. All right, so the Joe Pyfer fight, obviously I was in his corner.
Yeah, man.
So I have a different perspective of it.
Well, hold
So
on. Let me start then, because maybe I'm gonna say what everyone else was thinking, and then we get into your inside perspective. So it was kind of said, and I thought it was great. Like I thought it was a great game plan. You know, he got in a little bit of trouble with the he clearly lost the first round, but I thought that he kept the pressure in order to waste some steam. A boost on that takedown. He must have some really strong hips, because that was pretty tough to counter.
man, for sure.
Dude, I was like, holy shit. But I thought that showed a lot of cage discipline for him to be able to, okay, I lost this round, but we got to just keep him working. We got to set up the next round. And then bam, it happened. And that dude, he's looking good, man. But go ahead. I think that's what we were thinking. Go ahead. What do you say?
It's hard for me to separate the technique from like my relationships with these guys. So, I'm always thinking about what could we have done better. Tactically, it went pretty much how I wanted it to go tactically. And that was, I didn't want him to lose the first round like that. And I actually wanted him to start striking more. But the goal was to make a boost work. And sometimes in order to make a guy work, you got to give up some stuff. Right? Because like if they're not working, you're just holding and hugging up against the fence. They're not working. So all those scrambles and the idea and the fact that Abus did have some really strong positions and he wasted a lot of energy trying to finish those positions actually helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
It helped. So I'm not, it wasn't the best idea. Like that's not what you want, but it did help. And then coming out in the second round, I learned a lot about Joe from this. This is the second fight I've ever cornered him. I learned a lot about him, and that is when he is locked in, I can trust him to fight when he needs to fight because, coming back from losing that first round, like a lot of guys just start falling apart, especially when you're a power puncher like Joe who's able to put people out with one punch. You get used to that.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't happen, they tend to fall apart. The fighters will fall apart. So for Joe to lose that first round and then go, all right, coach, I got you. And then come out swinging and then drop, oh boy. It showed a lot to me. And I was like, you're able to not only be a hammer, but you're also able to be a nail and come back. So, yeah, man. I was happy. I was happy for Joe. I was really happy for him.
Me too. Stock way up as far as I'm concerned. He looked
really Dana came over to talk to him and was like, Dana's a fan of Joe Pyfer. Dana's a fan of two of the fighters I work with. I don't know about the other two though. He's a fan of Jillian. He's a fan of Jillian and Joe Pyfer.
It's funny. Well, you don't have to say who he might not be a fan of.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's a fan. I think he's just kind of indifferent to Sean Brady and even Amanda. Maybe I think he's just a little indifferent to them, but he's got something for Joe Pyfer and Jillian. Like he really likes them.
That's interesting. He's indifferent to Amanda. There's a lot going into her right now.
Yeah, or maybe he might like her a lot. I don't know. Yeah. But I just don't know if he's like going to show up at the baby shower.
Yeah. I got what you're saying.
Saying. I mean, it's not that they just, there's 700 fighters on the roster. He can't be friends with all. He can't be friends with any of them. But like some of them, you can tell he really enjoys watching fight.
Awesome. We do have to make mention of Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Bedford. Yeah. Actually, you and I went back and forth a little bit after the fight. Ramiz, big fan of the show, a fair fighter, fought someone from our alma mater, so to speak. I mean, it was another good win. It was, you know what it is about him is he reminds me of he always adds something to the card with his fights. There's always something positive. He reminds me of a player in a lineup for baseball that he either is the single that starts the rally or he's the tying or winning run after the rally. Like he's always somewhere he's involved within the positive momentum. And that's why he's so good for the UFC. Yeah, I know we talked about, I felt that he could have kept striking a little bit more. And, I know Austin doesn't have bad striking, but I thought that Ramiz would have had more success, but he ended up getting he kept it busy and he ended up getting the finish. So it was still a great performance. What did you think of the fight?
No, I thought it was great. So let me tell you a quick story about this beforehand. I showed up to the weigh-ins on Friday, and I'm standing there, and he comes up behind me, and I didn't really even recognize him because I actually, I forgot he was on the card. Actually,
Uh,
I forgot. So he comes up, and he gives me a hug, and I'm like, hey, and he felt strong, like in the hug on weigh-in day, and this was before he weighed in. And you know how guys are, like they feel real weak, and they're like very
yeah.
reserved, and like trying to conserve their energy. But he felt strong in the hug, and he said, and I didn't recognize. And again, like at this point, I still don't really recognize because forgot he was on the card. And then when he started talking, I said, "Oh, Ramiz," and he's like, "Dean, I got this, man. I got this." He said, the uh, the odds makers got this wrong. They got this wrong." And I'm like, "Man, I believe you. I believe you." And he's like, "Man, put my hands on this dude." And then I said, "Wait a minute, he's fighting Austin." I was like, "Yo, that's such a tough fight because Austin is such a good wrestler with good like cage awareness and all that stuff." But for whatever reason, man, I still had belief in Ramiz because like his energy at the weigh-in was so powerful.
Yeah.
Most guys are like, "Oh, just give me a drink," but his energy was so powerful. And then when he goes out to fight, I had my doubts, man. I was like, man, he might just get taken down and controlled for 3 rounds. But he goes out there, clips. I mean, he loses the first round, but he never gave up on himself. He started clipping Austin, but then you almost forget how good of a jiu-jitsu guy he is. Like that's his real bread and butter.
His chokes are so good.
Yeah, his chokes are good. So it was good to see him get that win, especially being the underdog and just how vulnerable he's been for us as a fighter. And again, he's another guy who I have a high esteem for, the same way as I do for Youssef Zalal, just because of his vulnerability and how he lets us into his world as a fighter.
Yeah,
A,
he's
a
such a good dude.
realistic view of it too.
Yeah, he's such a good dude. You can just tell he's just genuine whenever he's on
Yeah.
here, whenever he's doing interviews.
I say we get him on. I say we should get him on like later. This maybe do like an impromptu session to get a
Yeah,
to get
actually, I meant
a
to
to
text
see
you
that.
guys that last night. We should totally
Yeah,
do that. I would love to speak with him again.
yeah. Let's get him on sometime this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to him on that. Anything else stand out to you for this card?
No, that was really it. I thought it was a great card, great night of fights. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, we covered everything. Yeah, so just some inside stuff about being at the UFC. I was talking to John Striffen, who does UFC BJJ with me. He's the play-by-play guy, and this was his first event going to like a big pay-per-view UFC, and he was just so in awe. And he does White Sox baseball or Cubs baseball or something, and he's done like basketball. He's done a lot, and he's like, "There's nothing like this. It's
No.
nothing like it." And just the environment and the community of a UFC event, there's nothing like it. And it kind of reminds me of like a high school party where everybody gets along.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's like a high school party where everybody gets along. And at one point, when Joe Pyfer was fighting, we get up on the cage apron, and I'm standing there, and I look behind me, and there's Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Draymond Green's son. And they're looking up, and they're so giddy. They're like, and they're so giddy. And I took my hat off, and I threw it to Draymond Green's son. And they like went behind him, and some guy grabbed it. And I was like, "Yo, Draymond, get the hat, man. Give it to your boy, man." And I said, "Give it to your son." He was so giddy, like kids in a candy store, man, just happy to be at a UFC event and just watching this because there's nothing in the world like a live UFC event pay per
No.
view. Nothing in the world like this.
I remember the first time I went with my wife. Was it the first UFC I've been to? Yeah, it was the first UFC I've been to. It was about a year after I retired. And the Baba O'Reilly the Who training montage played, and then the bass drops after. For those of you who've never been there, it's the greatest thing. But those of you who have know what I'm talking about. And I didn't say anything, I'm just watching it. I remember she turns to me and she goes, "You want to come out of retirement, don't you?" I was like, "See, like you feel that when you're seeing that and you're feeling the crowd get behind it, and it's there's nothing like it. There's really nothing like it."
Nothing like it, man. There's nothing like watching a fight like Yuri and Khalil Rountree going back and forth and just watching two guys put their heart, life on the line and the energy of the crowd getting behind both guys and having appreciation for both guys. Nothing in the world like that. And there's nothing in the world like seeing it didn't happen necessarily last night, but just like watching the guy get knocked out when it's unexpected.
Yeah.
Like the Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, or Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, like watching that, nothing in the world like that. It's crazy. And I gotta just say, man, it's a blessing to be a part of that. Like especially how close I am to it. It's just I'll never take it for granted.
That's great.
I'll never take it for granted.
That's great.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, we'll try to get Ramiz on the shows later this week. We'll put out some and put that out. But Ryan, appreciate you coming in on a Sunday. Get back to work, man. I know you probably got kids to take to the park, but
no, Yankees are game 2 of the division series. But fans, you'll start seeing us on Monday mornings. We're going to be your Monday morning source for MMA. So we'll have it out.
All right.
Check in.
Well, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. On that note, this court is adjourned.